All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Downright Annoyed with Movies. I am Jackson, and I will be your humble host this evening. Joined, as always, by the full cast here. So that's a good night. Same crew as always, and I will let them introduce themselves, starting with Michael.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Mike with Downright Nerdy Podcast, and I finally got some good internet, so you won't see me all choppy today. So before you guys enjoy this episode, make sure you guys check everybody's links down below. Everybody on this panel putting out awesome content. Make sure you guys give them a like and a subscribe. So, yep, that's me.
And fair warning before I go to Ken, I still don't have a good copy-paste copy of the description from you, Mike. So you'll have to just search these guys' names.
Never mind that. I'm sorry.
but you can do that. You can type that, I'm sure. We've got Fake Nerd Podcast.
The bottom of everybody's little thing, they got their
That's
stuff.
my day,
Right. And it takes 5 seconds. You know, do it.
Right. And of course, we have Ken.
Hey guys, Ken from Pinky's Out. You can find us in all the podcasting stuff when we have a chance to do things. So eventually our livers will heal and we'll get a new episode out. So
thank you, sir. And as always, there is also Paul.
Hey, you can find me on the Tales from the Flip Side YouTube channel and on Instagram at Paul's Problems CBSI.
All right, Ryan.
Hey guys, Ryan from the Fake Nerd Podcast. We're a weekly pop culture, video game, movies, comics, bullshit type of show. You know, we go live every Sunday. This week we're talking about New Mutants. New Mutants is finally out on VOD, you guys. Is it good? Is it bad? I guess we'll find out when I watch it. Find out this Sunday. That's today. Oh, wow. That's me.
It's bad. Spoilers. It's bad. But anyway,
yeah, cool.
Cookie.
Hey guys, Cookie from Just a Little Podcast. Just dropped an episode maybe a day ago, I think. Yeah, so come check me out. I'm on all social media platforms, putting out great content on YouTube whenever it actually goes out on YouTube. But yeah, check me out.
All right. So yeah, thank you everyone. And you're already here. So if you're here and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit the button, that sort of thing. But anyway, this week was my choice. And I picked a little movie called Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon from 2006. Little low budget blend of a mockumentary with slasher film. And yeah, I guess before I share my thoughts, let's kind of go in the reverse order here. Cookie, what did you think of this movie?
I thought it was a great movie. I actually enjoyed it. Jackson, you did a great job. Hell of a job. It was a funny little trip, and you knew it was coming all along, but it was great. It was a great job, man. Fantastic.
I can't take credit for the movie. You know, they made it. I just suggested it. Ryan.
Yeah, so I got this movie when my Blockbuster closed down. I bought it for $2.99, and I was like, I don't know what to expect because this is a straight-to-DVD horror movie. And you guys, you always with your opinions, Mr. Ken. I think this movie is pretty radical. Despite having a really low budget, this movie cost less than $1 million. I think it's pretty ahead of its time for trying to be like a horror mockumentary, because we really don't see this type of movie. Even now, we get like things like Cabin in the Woods. That's like few and far between. But I think the premise, I think the acting, I think the main character is really funny, and I think it could be very funny to very serious, like in a second notice, and it's really effective in that way. I think it's a good little horror movie.
Sweet, thank you, Ryan. And Paul, what'd you think?
My hair was blown back as I went downhill for the first about 30 minutes. That's as far as my wife would let me go, and she's like, "Let's turn this off." So we turned it off, and we resumed it a couple days later, and our hair was blown back as we went uphill, because it really did a turnaround after that first half an hour. It changed, you know, it did the whole one cut of the dead on us, in my opinion. It really turned around in a good way, and it hooked us, and we ended up having a great time. So you tricked us good on this one.
Sweet. And Ken kind of shared his thoughts already, but I want to hear him expound on these thoughts.
It was okay. I didn't care for it. I thought it was, I'm trying to put it in context here. It's like Scary Movie without the Wayne brothers.
Oh,
No.
It's a mockumentary I don't know. It missed the mark for me. I mean, to be a mockumentary, you've got to have Eugene Levy, number one, because he's the king of mockumentaries. I don't know. I just didn't care for it. I'll say the opposite of Paul. I liked the first half an hour. I started getting into it, and then it just turned on me. I'm like, oh, that's lame. The reporters, I won't say the word because I don't want to spoil it for everybody. But at first I was excited because I saw that Walter was in it, and there were some big names in it that I liked. I'm like, oh, this would be good, and I liked his character. But then after that, I don't know. I just fell flat, and then the whole ending scene, I about fell out of my chair laughing. So.
I mean, that's kind of the goal, though.
Yeah, well, anyway.
But anyway, Mike, what'd you think?
It's funny because I'm kind of in between other people. I thought it'd be more streamlined, but no, I did like it. Paul, I was opposite of you as well. I liked the first half a little bit better than the second, but no, I had a great time. This is a ton of fun. About halfway through the movie, once it starts getting to the second half, like once they actually become a part of the story, I thought to myself, I'm like, damn, I still got like a half a movie left. I thought that was really just going to be like the end, like the last, I guess, what do you call it? The last third of the movie or whatever. But no, I enjoyed it. Yeah, good call, Jackson. I liked it.
Yeah, I think I'm on the opposite of Paul overall too, where I think the strongest part of the movie is the beginning.
Yep.
I like the setup and everything that's going on there when it's like, okay, they very quickly establish like, oh, this takes place in a world where Freddy, Jason, and Michael Myers, and even Chucky gets brought up as if they actually all exist. So I think that's clever. I do think it's very creatively done as far as going back and forth between being that mockumentary style and then just being like an over-the-top slasher movie where the audio stings are in there and stuff. Like the music is, classic slasher style movie. But yes, I like this movie a lot. It's a perfect example of like a love letter to a genre that also acknowledges how absurd said genre is. I mean, everything in this is like super cliche, purposefully so. And you see it coming because it's all in all of these movies, Robert Englund pops up as the Ahab, like the Dr. Loomis character.
That was great.
Yeah.
That part was, you've got your Ahab already. I did like that. I mean, there's parts of the movie I liked, and just overall, it just kind of fell flat for me. So.
Right.
It's
and
like,
how excited he is that he like got an Ahab.
That was,
Yeah.
I like that. That was,
yeah.
Now, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Do you think that if they were to make a sequel to this, that he would pop back up and just be like, just so excited that she actually killed him at the end of that plot? Be like, I can't believe she actually got me.
I do.
I'm stuck. It was so awesome.
I do.
If anything, I feel like he would, like, because it's like we're making a movie about him. If we made a sequel that's 15 years later, it'd be like, wow, I did such a good job. You guys are coming back to make a movie about me? Dude, that serial killer?
who's going to grab my tool this time?
Yeah, and I think what really works in this movie for me is how, like, the disconnect between like you watching someone, like their methods of how they kill someone, but it's like you're along board with them. Like when, like that girl who works at the restaurant, whatever, like you go hit through Leslie's plan of like, oh, this is how I'm going to get her and do all this stuff. And I'm like, I should feel weird about this, but I'm having a really good time because Leslie is so personable, and you get to see, like, again, how he can switch on a dime to being like super evil and lethal. And you're like, oh man, like this guy's really effective at being this serial killer personality.
Well, and to that point, I think that really works well too, because I mean, these old slasher movies, like, I mean, you're kind of rooting for the bad guy in them, right? I mean, Freddy Krueger, Jason, that's who you come to see. So it really, like, you're rooting for this guy, and you're right, he's so personable. And you mentioned the waitress chick, and one of my favorite parts in this whole movie is there's a scene where essentially they set her up with a scare outside of the diner she works at. And like, what's her name helps him by pulling a brick to like close the door or whatever. And he's all excited. He's like, oh, that'll give her something to think about. It's like, why does that ever happen in an actual, there's no other like reasonable explanation why the bad guy shows up and just scares someone in a scene, So I thought it was clever, but yeah, it's a funny movie. A few people. There's Zelda Rubinstein shows up in this as well from Poltergeist and has kind of a fun moment. But yeah, I was interested to show this one because I wonder, how people who aren't big fans of the genre would like it. But Cookie, I know, raise your hand, Cookie. Perfect. But you enjoyed it, huh?
I did, and because like you get the classical feel of horror in its sense, and then they break it down with hitting all those funny notes of what makes a classic horror film a classic horror film. And it's like he mentions how like Mike Myers doesn't run, or Freddy or Jason, none of them really run. They all kind of walk, but everybody else is running. He's like, I got to keep my cardio up. And that right there is just classic, great stuff.
Yeah, that was great. There's a bit too with dude from The Walking Dead. I forget his name.
Scott Wilson.
Scott Wilson. He's talking to the documentary makers about, how everything changed when Jason and Freddy started doing it. And it's just, you're sitting there watching this, like, this is just so absurd. I love it. The nice couple, they're the old couple who are men.
His wife,
Freddie and Jason, like as if they were like a Barry Sanders, or whatever, he's like, that running back changed the game. He's like, those guys changed the entire game,
I like when he was cutting up the carrots. That's kind of funny.
And he's just
yes, right. That was perfect. Now
there's a good line.
Go ahead, Ryan.
There's a good line where he's like, "You never let anybody get away, because like that would ruin the whole operation, and it's just embarrassing." And I'm like, he's just talking to it like it's just like we're just two people talking about murder, no big deal, right? And they pull it off.
It's almost like if they did let someone go away, like the next year at the serial killer convention or whatever, they're just going to make fun of them the entire time. It's like what did we read recently?
Sandman.
Sandman with the serial killer convention. I totally thought of that.
Yeah, that's great. That's a perfect example. That's kind of like what this is, right? They do have kind of an interesting explanation for why you maybe shouldn't feel bad or what their motivations are for doing it. It's like there has to be a counterbalance in the world
in order to be good.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of intriguing. I mean, it's thin, I guess, but go ahead.
I think Leslie, like, they make it out to be kind of supernatural almost in a way. But I think that's why the Ahab character's there, because he's like, no, there's nothing supernatural about him. He's like a dude who escaped my asylum or whatever. He's just a maniac. And I think that kind of actually is really needed and kind of brings it back down to level like, oh no, he's just a crazy dude. And it kind of like brings it to, again, like to reality, where it's like you're watching like, oh, this is a myth in the making. Like, nah, that dude just kills people.
Right.
And Robert Englund's like really good for the couple of minutes he's here.
Yeah. And then there's a nice little Kane Hodder appearance at the beginning too. He's going into Freddie or Nancy's old house from the nightmares. Hey, do you remember Frederick? I'm like,
God.
But yeah, I like these movies that are kind of a love letter to the genre. It's funny. It's because it's another one of those meta movies, almost like a Scream or something, but it's done in a completely different way. Now, considering the budget and probably the troubles they would have had putting something like this together, I would never expect it to be up to that quality as far as filmmaking is concerned. But it's super fun. I actually think the last half hour is probably the weakest bit of the movie. The actual, final girl stuff, all that stuff.
Yeah, it lost me, honestly.
Yeah, but it's still okay. I mean,
it kind of like in a similar vein for me, the movie Sunshine. Like it kind of turns into a slasher at the end. Like you guys were doing all of this like deep heavy stuff or whatever, and then it kind of just turns into this. And like I really like that movie still, and I still really like this movie. But I'm like, it could have been a little more clever about the way you were just doing these cliches, because you've done it so far really well, and then it kind of just turned into the movie it wasn't at the end, which is fine.
Right. Well, and I think there's something to be said too, that just because it's supposed to be predictable doesn't mean that it being predictable is always there's an excuse for it. Like the ending is very like, it's exactly what they've set you up for the entire time pretty much, but it doesn't make it any less like oh, you might have been able to do something clever here or there.
I do like, even if it is somewhat predictable, I do like the final reveal and like the stuff with the waitress, and like I do think if you're not super paying attention, that stuff can actually, I think it can catch you off guard. And I think that works really well. It just turns into a traditional slash movie after that.
How great is the part? Sorry, we're bouncing around here, but how great is the part when he's like canvassing his victims outside of the high school, and he's like, "Yeah, they're the smokers. They can't really run.
They can't run.
Yeah,
You know, they're the jocks and whatever." And then he's like,
you don't
"Oh,
want
this one's perfect. Did you see the look she gave me? Oh my god! Like, oh, it's perfect." But yeah,
I like how
taking it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
I was just gonna say the last half is entertaining too. How they were trying to save everyone, but it's like they were time traveling. They couldn't do anything to change the timeline. Like no matter what they said, everyone still fell into their perfect role.
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
But-
he set
sorry,
it up
Cookie.
nicely. Go ahead, Cookie. Sorry.
No, I was actually gonna just pretty much say the exact same thing. Like the fact that he told them exactly what he was gonna do, and they still did exactly what he said that they were gonna do. So they just It was really great.
Yeah, and Paul, we've been watching slashers for the last 5 months.
Right.
Was it, we've if anybody hasn't checked it out, we did all of the Friday the 13th, and we're now 4 movies through A Nightmare on Elm Street. And it's a little harder to compare this to Nightmare on Elm Street just because of the fantastical element. But I mean, as far as the tropes, Paul, how do you think it did as far as getting chuckles out of all the shit that we've watched these dumb characters do for the last 15 movies we've watched?
Yeah, I thought it was spot on. I mean, it took the formula that every movie uses and just followed it to a T. But no, I thought it was a very inventive way of going about making a slasher movie.
There are very. I'm trying to think. Like I don't think there's another movie like this that's been made. There's movies that subvert the genre, like Survivor Girls and stuff like that. But this really is kind of like a one of a kind movie, and I'm surprised a bigger budget version hasn't been made in some way. I guess Scream is getting like a reboot. I guess that's it now. But I thought something like this would have
What
happened
about
again.
What We Do in the Shadows? It's in the same. vein as
That is pure comedy, though.
Yeah, the big difference I think though, Ken, is that it's like you're getting a behind the scenes of the slasher genre, and then they're also showing you scenes from slasher movies. Like in the library, all of a sudden it cuts to like a dolly and it's like an actual movie that's happening, right?
Yeah,
and at the ending.
Yeah. Them cleaning up all the dead bodies and What We Do in the Shadows after the vampires eat. So
right, but wasn't that all done in documentary style?
yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so then right,
it is the closest thing we got.
Right. It transitions from movie to documentary. Yeah.
So
I just think
that's where. Sorry, go ahead.
I just think this is an idea that I thought would have happened in the last 15 years again, like this serial killer documentary thing.
Yeah, it's
You know
neat.
what, though? I think that it may have actually benefited it that it wasn't a big budget type of movie. I think it benefits it's low budget, So if they did do a remake or a sequel, I'd want it to be the same budget, or if not less.
They ran a Kickstarter for one a few years after it came out, I believe, and I believe it actually is a comic book now because they weren't able to get enough for the movie.
I'll check that out.
What would happen to the money if they didn't get enough? What would they just do?
Like, I don't know. Yeah, that's true. I think they got like 150 out of like 400.
Well, we all just get the comic book and we'll reenact it like a Zoom for all the characters.
Yeah, I don't think Nathan Basil is doing much these days, who played Vernon, but it's sad because I really like him. I really like the guy.
I think the main reporter lady, I think she's good. Like I think the directing's fine. Like everyone from this movie kind of hasn't done anything, which is unfortunate because I think it's a novel idea that's done well for its budget.
Excuse me, the main female character, as you guys were talking about in the group chat, I'll let you guys talk about it.
Yeah, Paul, you can spill the beans to Ken on that one.
I knew he was talking about it.
Because it was on Amazon, they had the whole about the cast thing. So I was just reading that, but I didn't know that Angela Goethals? But anyway, she played Linny in Home Alone. and so I just
Oh,
like what? So it's funny.
And
All right.
Lenny, I believe, was the little asshole cousin that's over at his house.
All of his
before-
cousins are assholes.
Yeah, that's right. Everyone's
Which-
an asshole.
which
yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's I don't have too much more to say. I don't know about anybody else, but yeah, I
I
guess.
had a couple questions.
Sorry, go ahead, Cookie. There we go.
Do you like? I know this is, of course, a lot more humor, but they would be, I guess. What do you think about that? They're filming this entire thing. They know exactly what's going to happen. They're accessories to murder if they were to survive. So they, regardless, if you survive, you're still dead. You're going to jail.
You know, I
I think
That's only if they release the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, see, this is a like fictional world where like mythical serial killers exist. So like maybe the statute of filming is different for those situations. We don't know the laws of this fake reality murder world.
Well, the laws are obviously a little skewed law-wise because it's he thinks that he's dead only in that one city and it doesn't apply anywhere else. In the world.
perfect.
God,
Perfect.
that works.
Just needs to go to a different city.
I actually think that's an interesting part of this movie, Cookie. That maybe it seems cartoonish on the surface, but it's almost almost like a thought on, you know, like people that went and interviewed Osama bin Laden, right? Like,
Yeah.
like the idea of what is a journalist's duty, right? To report something that's happening, or are they supposed to report to the authorities this kind of stuff? And this is obviously a very far-fetched version of it.
For sure.
They literally like took part in some of these activities, but I do think it's an interesting like thought, like, you know, what kind of guilt would a journalist feel watching this happen? Or, you know, if somebody knows where bin Laden is, they're going to meet him. You know, although they probably get blindfolded and driven.
Isn't that also
miles out to nowhere?
I've never seen it, but the interview with what's his face, Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I tried to watch it.
I got through
It's
5
not
seconds.
But yeah, anything else, Cookie? You said you had a couple questions.
The main character. Do you guys ever see him playing almost a Jim Carrey? If they were to do like a Jim Carrey biopic movie, would you see him playing as that?
I could see it.
To give him some work, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
could
could-
see it.
Some work.
I'm not too big a fan of biopics, so I wouldn't watch it anyway.
Oh, not a biopic guy, huh?
Well, I guess somebody might pick that in the near future since you guys did me dirty with horror.
Man on the moon.
But yeah, I would
good
like
one,
to see
though.
a sequel to
I
this.
like Man on the Moon.
Man on the Moon. There you
That
go.
was a very good one.
I would like to see a sequel of this. I think it would be fun, but then again, it almost works perfectly as is. So I don't think it really needs one, you know. So
No, yeah.
but yeah, final thoughts, and we'll start with Mike since he's not paying attention. He's looking at his phone.
I'm trying to respond to the chat, but whatever. Just before let me just say thank you to Tim for staying in the chat this whole time. He wasn't going to let them live anyway, right? I felt this whole thing was a setup for a film crew to die. He just went a dramatic way of going about it. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the point of a slasher flick, I think.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, but no, I did like it. Final thoughts. I'm going to give it a solid B.
Ken?
I'll give it a C. I mean, it's not a bad movie. It's not a great movie. I was glad it was only an hour and a half. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Paul?
Yeah, I'll give it a B as well. It sounds like if you don't like the first half, you'll like the second half, or vice versa, or maybe you'll like the whole thing. So I think it's worth a watch. Definitely good recommendation.
Sweet. And Ryan?
I agree with a B. I think it's a very solid premise that does well with its limited budget.
And Cookie?
B as well. Really, really great film. I enjoyed it.
B+ from me. I'm too big of a fan to not love this movie. It's like one of those, it's like a B+ that I love, you know, like it's just a great, fun little movie. Wish there was more stuff like it. You know, I think that a good example for anybody who hasn't seen it, I do think What We Do in the Shadows, where it's like, it's a love letter to its genre while making fun of it, is a good example of kind of what it is. But yeah, that's about it for me. I suppose we probably have wheels to do. But while I'm setting up the wheel, can you remind everybody where we can find you, starting with Mike?
Oh, easy. So yeah, I'm Mike from the Downright Nerdy podcast. You could find me pretty much just doing this this show, Downright Annoyed with Movies, and also Downright Annoyed with Comic Man Andy, which we're going to be doing right after this on Jackson, your channel. Yep, right there on Jackson's channel. So make sure you subscribe to Bored and Annoyed. You guys are already here. Just hit that subscribe button. And you guys will get to see a little bit more of me. The actual show probably won't start going until, I don't know, a couple months from now. But in the meantime, you can find me here.
Sweet. And Ken.
You can find me on all the podcasting platforms under Pinkies Out Podcast. We talk about beer and culture and usually devolve into making fun of each other. But I believe you guys are going to be talking about this here next. So,
Yep.
definitely, if you guys haven't read it yet, I'm about halfway through. Haven't had much chance to read lately, but check them out. It's a good
I love
read.
you, Alan Moore.
Yeah, good old Alan Moore. Paul.
Yeah, you can find me on the Tales from the Flip Side YouTube channel and on Instagram. I just post whatever I feel like posting on Paul's Problems CBSI.
Thank you, sir. And Ryan.
Hey guys, we're going live with the Fake Nerd podcast in just a couple hours, talking about the New Mutants. We're talking about all the news that happened this week, lots of movie news, casting, all that good jazz. You can personally find me at DJ Tony Snark everywhere. Thanks for stopping by.
Constantine 2. Man.
I'm excited
Yeah,
about that.
Yes.
I
Yes.
believe you, Peter Stormare. I believe you. You're a weird guy.
And Cookie.
Hey guys, Cookie, just a little podcast. Find me on all social media platforms, podcasts everywhere you listen to podcasts out there. YouTube, hopefully coming in the near future, have 2 shows lined up, so definitely be on the lookout for that.
Thank you, sir. And yeah, I am Jackson from right here. Make sure you subscribe to Bored and Annoyed. It's still the overarching name of the brand, I guess. But subscribe on any podcast platform. This week might be a busy week. I've got the movie that I'm reviewing with Ken, which is The Dark and the Wicked. I've got Mandalorian to discuss this week with another person. And then Nightmare on Elm Street 5.
Man, you're batting 100 this week, man.
So yeah, so yeah, that's
What's Nightmare 5 called?
The Dream Child. It's Freddy's rebirth through a baby in the womb. It's interesting.
They can't all be Dream Warriors. I get it.
Yes, that's true. They can't all be Dream Warriors. But yes, we have wheels to spin. So and by the way, I'm about to turn this over to Mike because apparently nobody can see my goddamn wheel when I spin it.
Maybe this week will be different.
No, I don't think so. It seems slower now.
You need to get a new potato that you run that thing on. So,
all right,
a couple more batteries.
Get a new hamster.
I'm sure. So this is genre wheel. What was our genre last week that we spun?
Fantasy,
because we argued about what is fantasy. And Paul got sad.
All right, so fantasy has been removed.
Sure do.
We're gonna shuffle this. Hit the wheel. It's spinning.
You should put Bond on there.
It's spinning, and it's going to be.
I believe it.
Spoof.
We've already done that one, haven't we?
Yeah, but we didn't. Nothing got picked.
No.
Oh,
right.
So we're starting.
Right.
Okay.
So,
right.
Ooh.
Start naming spoofs, I guess. People,
Mike,
Mike, you can start.
Shaun of the Dead. How about that one? I've never actually. Seen it.
Okay.
I've never seen it.
Oh,
great one.
Oh, that's a great film too. Kung Pao.
I love that movie.
Oh, Bruce
Did we decide Kung Pao is Kung Pao a spoof? I guess it is. Right?
Absolutely.
It's like Kung Fu movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Are you going to do the wheel
All right.
for next week?
Yes, but hey, give me time, Mike. My computer runs. It runs on an old steam engine from the 1800s. It
like steampunk, you got valves and stuff. Nice.
And those who are in
picking
chat, they can throw out some advice on film.
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Oh,
okay.
Good one.
Mike, can you write these down? Can anybody write these down? Because I can't.
I'm physically.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Austin Powers.
I got beer in both hands.
Austin Powers is great.
Oh.
Okay, we had Robin Hood,
Men in Tights.
Tights. Which one of them that I suggested? It was Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anybody in the chat, if you guys want to throw out any spoof movies, that'll be added to our monthly wheel. Where at the end of the month, we're going to spin the wheel, and whatever it lands on, we'll have
Big
to
Trouble in Little Tokyo a spoof?
So-
Would that be considered a spoof?
I don't think so.
No, it's more. That's more like a action fantasy.
But isn't
I'm
it like
gonna
a
say-
spoof of an
I'm
action?
gonna go Airplane. By the way, Airplane for me.
Would Surf Ninjas be? I'm just joking.
Yeah, it's a spoof of Cookie's
Okay, a
selections
spoof.
for.
The Ridiculous Six.
Okay.
No.
Oh, that's
Please
the thing.
don't let
That
that
movie.
win. Please don't let that
Let's
win.
let it win just for the donkey scene.
I've
Team
stopped
said Young Frankenstein.
supporting
Ooh, I like
bad
that.
Adam Sandler. Yeah, that's a good one.
Classic.
All the Mel Brooks.
How many we got?
Oh, did you do
we
the
got,
History of the
six.
World Part 1?
What?
Is that what somebody suggested? Nice.
Let's see. Robert
Japanese Spider-Man.
Galvin says Japanese Spider-Man. Never
That's
heard of
not
it.
a
watching.
parody.
Marvel
That's
616, man. Marvel
real life.
616.
What did you say?
All right,
The Japanese.
Somebody's in trouble.
Oh, okay. Got it.
we have a full wheel. It only took
Ooh.
25 minutes to get it up, but let's shuffle up.
And everybody
And deal.
in the audience, if it ends up landing on audience, I will put down a
Be
starting
ready
line.
with the movie.
Yeah, make sure you guys are ready for a movie.
Cookie,
Cookie.
you win.
Oh no!
Again?
Cookie.
I mean, yes. What's
All
up,
right.
buddy?
It's
man.
Thanksgiving time, so we're gonna do planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yes.
Okay.
Love that movie.
Never
Those
seen
are pillows.
Mike said he's never seen it.
Cookie just.
What?
Oh,
Whoa.
Mike,
whoa.
really?
I don't think so.
Perfect time. Perfect time for the show. Beautiful.
You kidding
time.
me?
I
You've
would
seen
say
Abbott
arguably
and
Cookie,
Costello meet Frankenstein, but you've never seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
gonna
you're
love it.
so,
You're
huh?
gonna love
You're
it. man.
gonna love it, dude. Riley's gonna love it too.
Such a great film.
It's a great movie.
it
That one.
arguably you could make the argument. Now, hear me out. That Cookie has now picked the two best movies on this show through its entire run. You could make that argument.
What are you
could,
saying?
yeah.
The first
I'm not gonna make that argument though.
Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah. Star Wars.
Good job,
Star
Cookie.
Wars.
Thank you.
You got
thank
like
This
five
will
more
redeem
bad
you
picks
for
now.
Tuesdays with Maury. I'll give you that.
Goose Days with Maury. Yeah. I don't know. Hey, this one's another Cookie must be a sensitive guy.
He's very
He's picking
sensitive.
a lot of really nice, sensitive
The
films.
ray of sunshine in this dark world.
Yes. But yes. Okay. So join us next week. Perfect week to do it. Everybody pop on Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yes.
You're a heathen if you've never seen it.
Yes.
Apparently.
But
You should
yes.
go to confession for this.
Yes. But yes, classic John
Say
Candy,
5 Hail
Steve
Marys
Martin.
and 2 Our Fathers.
But
Oh,
yes,
Steve
everybody
Martin. Yeah, I like that guy. He's a
join us
heathen,
next
right?
week and stick around here if you like Jack the Ripper, if you're a fan of Jack the Ripper, because
And history.
No.
If you like history,
Yes.
this is a great book.
yes. So stick around and Tom Strong.
Yeah. Yeah,
Tom
Alan
Strong.
Moore's Tom Strong.
There you
Every
go.
Indiana Jones, beautiful escapade.
But yeah, thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you next week. And I will hand off wheel duties to someone else because this computer clearly can't handle it. So.
Ew, wheel
There you
dudes.
go.
Wheel duties, yeah, right, yeah.
Wheel
All right, everybody
Warriors.
have a good night.
Jason
Take care.
from Wheel Warriors.